The group here says their aim is to cause maximum disruption today, to try to bring the centre of London to a standstill, really to try and prompt the government to take more urgent action against climate change. It was just after 10 o'clock this morning when protesters moved onto Waterloo Bridge here to stop the traffic. We're in the centre of London, not too far from the Houses of Parliament, and they brought with them lots of plants and flowers. You can see here there's even some trees in containers using this to block the roadway. They've even set up a skate ramp there. If you come down this way, you can see now there are hundreds of people here blocking the road, stopping the traffic. People of all ages, there's a stage, there's music, a bit of a festival atmosphere. And the people gathering here say that their aim is to be peaceful and non-violent, but what they want to do is highlight the issue of climate change to get the government to take more urgent action. This isn't the first protest like this that we've seen from Extinction Rebellion. Last year in November, they blocked off bridges in the centre of London on a slightly smaller scale than this. And just a couple of weeks ago, we saw semi-naked protesters holding up banners in the Houses of Parliament. Now, we understand today's protest. The protesters say that it is peaceful and non-violent, and certainly there are police here at the moment, but they're standing back and just monitoring the situation, allowing people to carry out their demonstration. The aim is to disrupt traffic, and certainly at the ends of the bridges now, the traffic is very slow, but still moving at the moment. This is, of course, one of a number of protests being held by this group throughout the centre of the city. The protesters say it will be peaceful, but they are planning to stay here for as long as they can, and they say they are prepared to be arrested if somebody tries to move them.
Sarah, thank you very much.
And Sarah, Walton is in Parliament Square for us now.
Well, Sophie, yes, there are thousands of people gathered here now, and really the numbers have swelled quite significantly in about the last half an hour or so. What we've got is people meeting in different parts of central London and making their way here to Parliament Square. Over in this direction, there's a large stage been set up. That's a rally organised by UKIP, and a few minutes ago, Tommy Robinson, former leader of the English Defence League, was speaking to the crowds gathered there. If you come round in this direction, you might be able to see there is another large stage been set up over here. This is the Leave Means Leave campaign, and we believe that Nigel Farage will be speaking to the crowds in this direction too. Now, there are some pro-Remain campaign groups demonstrating in London today, but at the moment here, the majority are pro-Brexit supporters, some of whom have been telling me that they were always planning to come to London today, the 29th of March, but for a celebration, to celebrate the day that the UK would leave the EU. And we know now that that's not going to happen today. After 2 years of negotiations, the Brexit process is still no clearer, and people have been saying that they've come here from all across the country, that they are angry and frustrated that the government hasn't kept its Brexit process. So yes, more and more people arriving here all the time. Some of the rally groups say they plan to be here until well into the evening, so it's going to be a very busy afternoon in central London. The fire here is spreading not just through this very dry grass, but also underneath the ground where the soil is very peaty. Firefighters are finding they'll put out one area of fire, but the ground underneath is still so hot that it'll be back alight just minutes later. Well, some of the firefighters from this fire had to be diverted to another one that started today about 7 miles away in a place called Healy Nab. A helicopter that was sent to investigate what was happening reported seeing 2 people on the ground actually setting fire to the grass on purpose. In fact, the police have reported dealing with a number of people today acting recklessly around the wildfires, and they say their actions are hampering the work of the emergency teams here.
Good morning. Let's bring you up to date with our main story. Snow and ice is gripping much of the UK. Sarah Walton is in Ellerton in Yorkshire. Sarah, bring us up to date.
Well, we've seen quite heavy flurries of snow falling yesterday and through the night, and what you've got places like this is a thin layer of snow which is really frozen in the cold temperatures and high winds overnight. We've just seen snow ploughs trying to clear the fast lane of the A63 here, but over higher ground you've seen things much worse, thicker layers of snow. Lincolnshire Police warning people not to make any journeys if they can avoid it. Many of their roads only crossable if you have a 4x4. Greater Manchester Police warning that conditions over the Pennines, those trans-Pennine routes, are really bad. The word they used was bleak, and they've tweeted a video showing blizzard-like conditions. They had snow ploughs out on the M62 and asking people to really avoid those routes. We are also seeing disruption on the trains today, Great Western, North Western, South Western. There was already a coach replacement service running between Manchester Airport and York. The bad weather means the coaches can't even run now, so if you're hoping to take a train, do check with the rail website. Plane cancellations as well out of Heathrow because planes have to be de-iced, so if you were planning on going somewhere on holiday today, perhaps warmer climes, you need to check with the airline website before you set off. The good news is we are expecting conditions to ease here a little bit through the day. I say that just as another flurry comes in. It should be getting better as we head into the afternoon. But if you have to make a journey today, the warning is wherever you're going, take care, leave yourself extra time. If you're in the market for a £100 million yacht, then this is where you come. The Monaco Yacht Show attracts 40,000 people a year. But one thing in particular caught the eye of these rich and glamorous customers. Actually, make that 9 things. The British yacht-making industry supports over 30,000 jobs and last year brought in over £3 billion to the country's economy. The hope is that the Red Arrows performing here will help sell more yachts that are made in the UK, bringing in more money and ultimately supporting jobs. Hello, good afternoon. The headlines from BBC Look North this Tuesday lunchtime. There's an increase in attacks and drug use at an immigration removal centre in Lincolnshire.
Who's driving it? What's driving it?
So well, your report says that an increasing number of people in your report, you say, being held at Morton Hall are former prisoners. Is that not contributing to levels of violence at the site?
I wouldn't want to make any assumptions, and that's why we say that there needs to be some proper analysis.
It's so big. This thing is the size of a bus. It needs the ocean to support its weight. Every piece of material has to be brought out 3 miles from the mainland on a truck like this, on a track that changes every day with the tide. And as you can see, it's not the smoothest of journeys. Lincoln City's FA Cup dream has come to a crashing end. But still, fans here say they couldn't be prouder of their team.